Hello, welcome back to How About That Crypto. You are watching your daily crypto news and updates with your host, Bitcoin Stylist on Twitter and Bitcoin Hairstylist on Instagram. Today's news stories are JP Morgan is the first bank in the metaverse, despite the fact that the CEO is probably in the top 5 of the negative Nancy's on crypto. Let's check this out. Athlete superstar and venture capitalist Serena Williams joins the board of a crypto company. This is huge news, so stay tuned. All right, and if you stay to the end, I will explain why Bitcoin has value. If you like or don't like the content, please let me know by leaving a comment below, and please click the like, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the podcast. And please leave me a comment. I appreciate your feedback. It helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Just to be clear and litigious, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can use the links below and to do your own research. Okay, and let's get started. Jamie Dimon is the CEO of JP Morgan Bank and has been one of the most outspoken critics of Bitcoin and crypto. Meanwhile, they have been quietly making their own cryptocurrency, building infrastructure to support the trading and custody of crypto, and building a lounge in the metaverse, in Decentraland, a blockchain-powered metaverse that requires the use of the coin Mana. So basically, Jamie Dimon's out there saying, crypto is a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's whack, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, everybody, go and build in crypto. And so whatever, maybe he's not purposely doing it. Maybe he's just some old dinosaur and his company is saying, hey, you might not like it, but our customers do. That's also a possibility. Or maybe they're just trying to get a foothold in before the bank's investors. Who knows? It does not matter. What matters is that one of the biggest banks, if not the biggest bank, is in the crypto and in the metaverse. Okay, Bloomberg reports there's a portrait of Jamie Dimon hanging in JP Morgan's metaverse lounge. So let me show you some of that real quick. And bam. Okay, so there you go. There's a portrait of Jamie Dimon hanging in JP Morgan's metaverse lounge. JP Morgan Chase and Company has a lounge in the metaverse. That's right here. So JP Morgan Chase and Company has a lounge in the metaverse. Visitors are greeted by a digital portrait of Jamie Dimon and a roaming tiger. Walk upstairs and you will see an executive presentation on the crypto economy. And you can see in this picture, if you're listening on podcast, you can just click on the links to see the picture. It's in the article, but there's a picture of Jamie Dimon, just a regular 2D picture, nothing three-dimensional about it, but which kind of makes it stand out even more. And then there's a little tiger roaming around and an avatar of a person reading a sign that says, unlocking $120 billion value in cross-border payments. Sounds good for crypto. All right, so kind of let's dig into this. Their lounge is located in the Metajuku Mall in Decentraland, and it is put up by, it's called Onyx, and Onyx is JP Morgan's blockchain unit, founded in 2020. They set up a lounge and they dropped a paper on how businesses can explore opportunity in the metaverse. And I'm gonna read it through the paper and I'll report on that tomorrow. So JP Morgan is the first bank and they've joined other big names like Samsung and the Barbados Embassy. In this article, they go on to say that JP Morgan has been a proponent of blockchain. I have no idea where they got that from, other than the fact that they've been quietly working on it. You know, I've been reporting the news and paying attention, stuck on this like glue, and I haven't seen any positive news from JP Morgan. So, but whatever. Their argument is that they've been a proponent because they built out this Onyx group, which, you know, that's only less than 2 years old. It started with internal uses of blockchain and they created their JPM coin. So JP Morgan has their own crypto. It's used for intraday trading. So trading that happens within the day, and then it makes it easier to move money around, and you can move it from bank to bank, from bank to financial institution, to brokers, etc. Basically, it's helping improve the piping of the financial system. And of course, it's being done with JPM coin. And I don't know. I digress. You make up your own mind about that. Point is, this is a great sign for adoption. It just goes to show that even the naysayers are getting involved. Whether that was their plan or not, we don't know. It doesn't matter. So the plans to be in all, so in this article, they say that JP Morgan plans to be in all the major metaverses. Well, the two biggest metaverses right now are Decentraland, which is where the picture that you're looking at. That's from that. And Sandbox, which is where Snoop Dogg is building his Snoopverse. And there are other names in these metaverses, but this is huge for Mana Coin and Sandcoin. Not financial advice, just saying. Okay. All right. Bottom line is, this is bullish. Okay. So Serena Williams, next story. Serena Williams is not only one of the top athletes in the world and a legend, she is also a venture capitalist. Yahoo News reports that Serena Williams is making moves off the court, joins $4 billion blockchain firm SoRare as a board advisor. She joined the board of a $4.3 billion $4.3 billion US dollar company, SoRare. It's a blockchain-based fantasy soccer game. So I'm assuming that's like fantasy football, where you get to pick your players, you make your own teams, and then you compete. And there's definitely going to be money involved. You know, it's almost like gambling, or maybe exactly like gambling. I don't know. I don't really play, but it sounds like gambling to me. But who cares? Like, it sounds like fun also. And you probably don't have to use money for it. So SoRare has a license deal with 230 men's soccer groups, and they want to expand into 2 American sports, including women's sports. Enter Serena Williams. And I got something for you on that real quick. There you go. Share this screen. Oh, that's not it. That's my notes. All right, here you go. Okay, there you go. So Serena Williams is making moves off the court, joins $4 billion blockchain firm SoRare as a board member. So there she is, a picture of Serena Williams. If you don't know who she is one of the top athletes and a legend in the industry, and in tennis specifically. So kind of moving on, SoRare believes that crypto is the biggest space looking forward. And a little bit about Serena Williams. Here you go. I want to share this little thing from the SoRare CEO. It says, when you have the ambition to build the biggest entertainment group in the world of sports, and you have the opportunity to partner with one of the greatest athletes in history, you want that perspective. So basically what they're saying is, we're building this thing up. We got all these license deals with men's sports. We want to get into women's sports and other sports. So it makes sense to bring on people who are making waves or have made waves in those specific spaces. So a little to understand why Serena Williams is such a big deal, other than the fact that she's an incredible athlete. She has her own fund, venture capitalist fund, called Serena Ventures. It's they invest in early stage companies, specifically Black-owned ventures, which I think makes up around 70% of the fund. A big focus on women-run businesses, women of color-run businesses. They funded multiple crypto companies, partnered with Jay-Z and VC firm Andreessen Horowitz. Andreessen Horowitz, if you don't know, is one of the biggest venture capitalist funds investing in crypto. They're behind pretty much all the major deals. So this is a huge deal. We got, not only do we have Serena Williams, who is connected to sports for SoRare, who is a sports entertainment company. So they have that perspective, but also she's also has her own venture capitalist fund when she's been very active, and she understands, at least the fund and her understand crypto space. So this is really amazing, really bullish. And Tell me what you think about this. If you've gotten this far, you probably want to hear what I got to say about what does Bitcoin have value. Well, the news that I just delivered is so important and so bullish. I'd love to hear your comments on that. So please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Okay, so why does Bitcoin have value? Well, to understand why anything has value, first you have to understand that value is not objective. Value is subjective. There are fundamentals behind various assets that enable you to really feel like there is value underlying it. However, at the end of the day, the value of something is only worth what someone else will pay for it. Okay, do not get that twisted. The US dollar has value until nobody else in the world wants to use it. Just because the US uses it doesn't mean that China is going to continue to hold our debt or buy our debt. And considering we're running in deficits and we're constantly borrowing money, and now they're talking about raising the rates, which means we're gonna have to borrow money to pay for our loans, which means the interest rates are going to compound. We're not gonna be able to afford to do it. Bottom line, math doesn't lie. So why does Bitcoin have value? Bitcoin doesn't have anybody using it. It doesn't have any nation paying taxes in it except for El Salvador and maybe some others coming on board, but that's not enough to support these valuations. So you have to understand supply and demand. Supply, think of the seller is supply, and demand is, think of the buyer, think of the consumer or like a store. So if you want to buy a pencil and you go to the store and there's tons of pencils and there's a high supply and there's whatever the demand is, that'll impact the price. So the higher if there's high supply and low demand, low price. If there's low supply, high demand, high price. And what we're doing is we're fluctuating in between there as people try to figure out, do they think that it has value? Do they want it? There's a lot of FOMO. People don't want to miss out. Now, as far as utility, I spoke about people using the Bitcoin. Well, if it's being used for transactions, then that's going to help support the value, because that's going to create a demand for the currency or the coin or the asset. So Bitcoin is going to have value the more people use it for transactions, or if they use it for a store of value. If someone thinks that it's a good place to stick some money because they're worried about inflation, for example, then it's a good place to store value. So that's a utility. Now, another attribute of Bitcoin, it has the cryptography that secures the network and the cryptography that secures your ownership, depending on how you hold it, is the best security on the planet as of right now. So it's more secure than our current financial system. And then there is the fact that you can own your assets. Like, for example, if you have a bunch of dollars in the bank and you're like, I'm good, but the US keeps expanding the money supply, then the value of your money is going to go down. So you're going to need more dollars to buy a loaf of bread in 5 years than you will today. So you don't want to just stick cash underneath of a mattress or in a bank account making 0.25% or whatever they're paying you now. It's a joke. So like your money is eroding. It's essentially like you're losing your money. And then there's inflation, which I spoke about. Inflation is a concern because it's clocked in at over 7% right now. That means that every year your dollar is going to lose that 7%. I mean, assuming that inflation persists. If it doesn't, then it's not anything to worry about. And then there's trust. Do you trust the banks? Do you trust the politicians that their pockets and their re-election campaigns are lined by the pockets of the banks? Do you trust these people? That's also a reason why it might have value, because there's a lot of distrust in the system. There's a lot of distrust in the banks for sure, and definitely politicians that are propped up by these financial institutions as well as other institutions. So you make your own decision about it. Does any of this sound like I'm just some nut, or it's just some libertarian, or just some psycho conspiracy theorist? I don't know what you think about what I just said, but I'm just explaining to you the reasons why it is perceived as having value. This is not necessarily my opinion, but it's not necessarily not my opinion. This is just how I see it, my opinion about why it has value or why someone would think it has value. So you do your own research, you make up your own mind, and tell me what you think about these news stories. JP Morgan is in the metaverse, and Serena Williams is also getting into crypto, or she's getting into crypto in a bigger way. She's already into crypto. Tell me what you think. Drop a comment below. Click the like button. Subscribe to the channel. It helps support me. It doesn't cost me anything, and I love feedback. And let's have a conversation about it, whether you agree or disagree. All right. Until tomorrow, hodl on.